What's good, y'all? It's time for another video, and in this one we'll be going over Glacius. Glacius is a legendary Northerner mage, so the same way as Shamir is. I have zero clue what he does. We'll be finding it out together. As usual, you get showcase, and at the end we'll have a look at a couple pieces of content. So, what can he do? I don't know, you don't know, let's get into it. Basic attack inflict slow. Okay, 50% or 75%? 50%, okay. Upon hit with an 20% chance to additionally inflict freeze. So you hit and you basically have 20% chance to freeze. Okay. Deals 20% increased damage to targets inflicted with slow, being either the 25, 50 or 75% version, and 20% increased damage to targets inflicted with freeze. So if you hit, you have a 20% chance to do 40% extra damage because he guaranteed afflict slow, could do a freeze, so up to 40% extra damage with a 20% chance. Okay. A1 deals 120% magic damage to one enemy, so doesn't look like an AoE unit. A2, passive, gains a shield equal to 30% of max HP every 26 seconds, lasting for 10 seconds. Each time damage is taken, it reduces the cooldown of said shield by 1 second up to 12 seconds. When the ultimate is triggered, is activated, this effect triggers immediately and increases the shield strength obtained to 60%. Okay, he's kind of like Oleg, where he gets a shield every 26 seconds, but the shield only lasts 10 seconds. So you get the shield times out after 10 seconds. If you get hit 12 times, shield downtime goes down to 4 seconds, but you need to permanently get hit by that. So for example, simple example, gear raid to the stage with like with the damaging winds, right, where you get hit permanently. Okay, next off, the hero possesses frost immunity. We are in for a treat, we're in for an issue. So this is now the third character to have frost immunity. We have him, we have Imrit, and then we have Anora. So they're going somewhere. I'm not quite sure where they're going, but they are going somewhere with that whole frost immunity. And I think Imrit should be the only one that can also provide that frost immunity to other units. Let me check that real quick if that's true. Ultimate allies within the talent range receive freeze immunity. Yep, okay. So there is going to be a big important part for freezes, and my main theory is still going to be chapter, chapter 10. I think they talked about chapter 10, it's kind of like withdrawals and frozen units, and if you want footage to that, it's all the way back in my buckets video. I'll probably put it up on screen right now so you know what I'm talking about. Let's continue onwards. We have deals 80% extra damage to enemies inflicted with freeze. If the target is immune to freeze, triggered by talent, the hero inflicts Eye of Winter on them for 5 seconds. Glacius just regards the target as frozen. So even if targets can't be frozen, he still does the extra damage. So alright, I guess this needs an extra explanation because it's kind of hard to spot. But when you look at hitting the boss, instead of an actual debuff window appearing, there's kind of like this snowflake that appears. And that seems to be the Eye of Winter. Overall, with his passive, with his talent and his passive, he deals 100% extra damage to targets that are frozen. That seems pretty good. And then lastly, the ultimate. What does it do? Arctic Fury. He changes his range to marksman range, so he gains 2 tiles at the top. When activated, increases attack range and turns basic attack into 3 consecutive strikes, with each strike dealing 110% damage to random enemies in range. For every 1% of max HP of shield strength owned, increases damage by 1% up to 100%. So just through his frozen shield alone, he increases his own damage by 110%. No, wait, that's the description. He just increases his own damage by 60%. And if you then furthermore give him shields, you can increase his damage up to 100%. So the 3 basic attacks are instead of 1 hit doing 120% damage, it is 3 hits doing 110% damage. So slightly less, but 3 times. And as already seen, every single hit, he's hitting 3 times, and every single of that those hits has a 20% chance to freeze. Okay. Okay. Now that leaves us with the Awakenings. What are we dealing with? Awakened 1, when there are only 1 target in range, increases damage by 15% with an extra 15% damage to targets inflicted with freeze. Okay, and if you keep in mind, Eye of Winter does say if your target can't be frozen, I still say it is. Right? Yep, if the target is immune to freeze, blah blah blah. Now, that is curious. We will definitely check out in Guild Boss 2, if he attacks the Guild Boss 2, the Guild Boss 2 can technically be frozen to get like these delay stacks, but can he actually, like, does he count as frozen? Does he change the numbers? Well, we shall see, we shall see. Okay, A2. 300 attack, straightforward, just increasing the base amount so everything scales better. Increases the shield strength gained by 20% when shielded, increases damage dealt by 15%. So let's say shield strength gained by 20% is a multiplier. So let's say every shield he gets is 1.2x as strong. That would mean his 60% HP shield from the passive should turn into a 72% shield, because right, like 10%, 20% of 60 is 12, so 72%. That's the theory. And then when shielded, he increases his damage dealt. Okay. Northener stuff. Increases crit rate by 8%, and now the A5. Upon receiving fatal damage for the first time, triggers Ice Barrier for 10 seconds, during which the hero cannot act or take damage. When it expires, the hero restores 30% HP, can instantly ult, and gains a shield equal to 50% of max HP for 10 seconds. So if we take the 72% shield, the 50% shield, put that together, we have 122% HP shield after ultimate with 100% damage increased. Okay. Okay. So that is his basic kit. Something else that's basic that we need to end on is obviously the base stats. What are we looking at? We have, again, standard mage range with the better mage range and ultimate, the reduced redeployment time from 60 to 55 seconds, the high magic rest because he is a mage, the rather high-ish attack because he once more is a mage. If we take a look at, for example, Nocturne has 4,663 and he has 4,683, so it's basically the same thing. Cost 1919 is also about as standard mage cost as it can be. Block, air block doesn't exist anyway, so him having 1 block or 0 block legit doesn't make a difference. Attack interval at 2.6 is, I think, also pretty standard for mages. Like, mages and fighters do kind of have the same attack intervals, with marksman being a bit faster. So 2.6 is pretty standard. We can just for fun have a look at Nocturne. Nocturne has 2.6, Shamir has 2.6. So yeah, I'm pretty in line with all these guys. Mary obviously has less because she's geared. What else do we have? Oh yeah, obviously 10,000 HP, so not that tanky, nothing too crazy. 14 rage regen per second, which is a bit above average. 10 rage regen per attack. And 6 rage regen per getting attacked. Okay. So pretty clear-cut standard stats. Right, so here we are at Guild Boss with this very funky team, and there's something we need to test in advance, and that is Rork's talent. Rork talent states that he gives a shield equal to 15% of max HP to whoever casts an ultimate within a tile lasting for 10 seconds, right? So the idea is to give a shield to Falc and to give a shield to Glacius, because both of them do benefit from having a shield or a higher shield, be it their ultimate or for Falc the passive. So what we're gonna have to test is straight off the bat, we bring in Rork and we bring in someone that doesn't gain a shield at a 2-tile distance, right? Because that is where Glacius would be. Use Laurel right here, and then we use we use her, and as you can see, it's 15,000 something big shield, right? Big shield means it didn't come from faction bonus, it didn't come from Mary herself, so has to be Rork. Now that means Glacius does indeed get a shield, but do they stack, right? Do they properly stack is what we need to answer next. Here we get hit, and in this case he should get a 60% of his own max HP shield plus the shield from Rork, which should overall be a pretty beefy shield, right? Okay, let's wait out the Infernal Roar. So there we had a shield from his talent. Here we have some burns, so we activate the ultimate and we gain 19,000 plus 17,000 shield, which is probably way above 100% of his own HP, which means he should be in maximum damage stance. Alright, now that we have everything like this set up, it's time to actually get into the fight. Alright, everything checked out, and gear you will get at the end of this run. So let's get straight into it and get going. The way we'll be doing this is by obviously placing in Glacius, giving him Invigoration set from Laurel, placing in Hex, giving him Invigoration set from Lunaria, placing in Falcia, giving her Invigoration set from Volker, placing in Dolores so she can charge up, Rork to already do his thing, and then we finish it off with Mary. So right here, ultimate wise, we'll wait until Dolores' ultimate is ready. And yeah, then just cast our ultimates throughout. Obviously there's going to be a bit of an annoying thing. That is because if Falcia transforms into her demon stance, right, the demonic whatever stance, she can't actually ult. So there might be me clicking on her and her not triggering. Like for example, like this. Here we it did take that extra couple of seconds. Alright. Honestly, swapping in units, I wouldn't really bother with it unless unless you have like the actual desire to get a couple K more blood out of it, maybe like 1 or 2. So you could, for example, swap in Lunaria, expect her to do a bit of damage, but Volker's main benefit, the vulnerability, is already provided by Mary. And yeah, I guess you could use a different unit here, right? Maybe like an Ardea, something that fits with Hex, whatever. But we don't need to bother with it, so we also don't bother with it. And yeah, what else is there to say about it? Yeah, Iova. Obviously, if you had a Iova, you could definitely use him there. that's for sure, to put him in to do some extra damage. But yeah, the reason for Rork staying on the field is obviously his talent, so Glacius can get a bigger shield. The reason for Mary staying on the field is the permanent vulnerabilities. So this is actually a version of a team where we do not swap out anything. And damage wise, it doesn't look all that bad. Like, I gotta be honest with you all, it truly doesn't look all that bad. And this is obviously with everyone involved, legendary or otherwise, being A0. So there is some obviously some higher potential here. Okay, here we go, 12,000 something, once more in, out, on. Hey, see, this is a bit frustrating with Falcia. That truly is a bit frustrating with her. And I mean, okay, it's not the craziest of numbers, alright? So it straight up doesn't look like we'll be going anywhere close to 50k, at least with the awakenings we have right now. But it's also not bad for a Northener faction that up until now still is pretty irrelevant when it comes to GVG, and also to Gate Boss. And also we're not involving Elddr in this, right? Elddr should still be the most effective offensive lord when it comes to Glacius, even though he doesn't particularly provide a shield himself. So right here we'll actually wait it out until we can trigger Dolores to pull her. Just so we don't waste the time, we can also trigger Hollow and then out with her. Continue onwards. And yeah, don't forget to activate the ultimates. Again, the most important part here isn't necessarily going to be the damage that everybody else is doing or the overall damage that we are doing, but it is all about Glacius and what he is doing. Also, I guess another problem is obviously the fact that the burns are steadily eroding his shields, so that within his ultimate he still doesn't get that full perfect 100% damage bonus. But I guess that's just about as expected in a guild boss fight, where he applies burns and huge HP percent based cuts of HP and whatnot, right? But we did make it above 30,000, so we ended up somewhere in like the 40,000 damage mark. Another thing, I was testing for this fight because I truly don't really care about the damage Rork puts out. So what I did was I put it into left side tank gear, and on the right side into an Glacier set. I just wanted to see maybe the Glacier set gives him some extra damage. I know his numbers, even in like a super offensive Sorbonne Arcana set, are closer to like maybe if you stretch it 20 million. So I'm pretty interested to see what him in a Glacier set with HP really does, if it makes a change, if he does anything. And once more, the biggest issue of like HP based characters and such is obviously they don't scale with Dolores. Besides Jira, but Jira has nothing to do with HP scaling. Alright, so 100 million from Glacius, over an A0 Hex, 91 from Falc, 10 from Rork, and then 1 million from Mary. So, if you could swap out if you could swap out Rork for Elddr, and find a nice character to swap in like Yova or someone else to do some extra damage while you have that one open spot on the field, then you can definitely make this work for sure. We could also bring in Pyrus plus Zil A3 and then most likely hit 50k with it. I mean, alright, fuck it, why not? Alright, so right here is Nightmare 4 at 6 times the speed with the mentioned team. So we basically just swapped in Pyrus, Elddr, Zil A3. And yeah, overall, something very important to notice is Elddr here didn't wear an artifact. But damage wise, I guess the biggest issue still for Northerner faction teams is the problem that yes, they scale with shields, but what if the boss hits you so hard your shields disappear? Huh? That is exactly kind of the issue from Glacius, especially in this run right here, is that the boss just hits him and it is rather rare that his ultimate actually goes out while he has his shield up. But on that note, you've seen his A1 and his A3. His A1 increases single target damage and even more damage against frozen targets, while his A3 increases his shield strength and even more damage. So how about we use A3 Falc, A3 Zil A3 and A3 Glacius and see what happens. Exactly, that is the plan, and let's get to the fight. It's go time. So we bring in Glacius, give him invigoration, Zil A3, give her invigoration, Falc, give her invigoration, Dolores, Elddr, and Pyrus. So the reason why we're placing Pyrus here instead of the tile one to the right is he wouldn't be able to hit the boss. If he can't hit the boss, he can't rage regen. If he can't rage regen, he is pretty useless. Alright, so early Falc ult here. Timing wise, we are actually waiting for 78% on Pyrus, because at 78% or we can trigger their ultimates and we're going to be able to trigger Dolores before it runs out. So right here we can get rid of Laurel, place in Mary. Mary is going to give the permanent vulnerability. I know Pyrus also provides that, so Mary sadly isn't as impactful, but honestly she provides the same benefit of Volker would anyway, and we are using a lot on the field, so you don't really even notice. Right here we obviously go with the next Pyrus ultimate, And if everything goes according to plan, we should be able to go with Pyrus 3 times within a single Zil A3 ultimate. Alright, here we have the shield part. Glacius has his big shield, hitting hopefully for big numbers. And Pyrus sadly can't quite ult with Zil A3 being ready 3 times, so we'll wait for her ult to time out so that we can trigger it again. The good part about a Zil A3 at A3 is she basically perma-ult. There never really is a phase where Zil A3 doesn't have her ult ready. So Zil A3 A3 is pretty funky in that regard. And here we even bring in Volker, and the goal with Volker is to use her vulnerability after Pyrus has run out, and then to basically just keep up that huge vulnerability uptime. So right here, obviously you see it's still active. The important part is you can't activate Volker's ultimate unless it ran out. So there you go, ran out. You can activate it. You can also activate Elddr's ultimate here. We can pull her. We can bring in Mary, but we don't because we would need to pull her in the next 10 seconds. So there's no really a point to it. And here once more, Zil A3 is basically ready already. Especially because she goes with Pyrus. So you trigger Pyrus here, can then trigger her before Pyrus locks her out. Place Laurel in, take Laurel out, and continue on. So yeah, we are looking at 25,000 damage, which is obviously pretty good. We should definitely be able to hit 50k here too. And the question is, how high do we go? Maybe 60k, 65? I don't know. I don't know about like the high 60s, but at least like 55k should be all but possible, no? And once more with Falcia's ultimate. Take out Mary by the time Laurel is ready. Activate the ults here. Place down Laurel, but wait until the important ults are triggered to take her out, so that we don't lose the extra rage gain. There we go. And then once more Volker comes in. Yeah, like this is like the big issue with this right here. Though I do wonder if we actually, yeah, we do. There's the shield from the demon stance. So we do actually still gain those shields. I kind of confused it with her gaining a shield when she triggers her ultimate, but it's technically even more often. Alright, 35,000 by the shield. By the time the shield appears, that is pretty good. That is pretty good. We can once more pull Volker because she's done her job. She's applied the invulnerability. We can go with Pyrus. We can go with Zil A3. Hopefully Dolores comes up in time. Not quite. Her talent didn't trigger. So right here the plan would have been place in Laurel, activate Dolores' ultimate, get big hit, but Dolores' talent didn't trigger. So there is a little bit of bad luck when it comes to RNG here. But still, we are already at 45,000 and rising. Come on. Once more, Falcia triggers her demon stance, so we can't use her ultimate, because why would we even want to do that? Who uses ultimates anyway? It is 2024. Okay, yeah, so far so good. Here we'll basically just be using everything we have, triggering everything possible, pulling out Mary, getting one more big hit from Zil A3 in, and yeah, placing Volker just because we can. So we did break 50,000, but we're still not yet at the point where where I predicted kind of like a 55k, didn't I? Come on, give me something to work with here. Shit. maybe you could call it bad RNG. Who knows? Let's have a look at the numbers. Who did how much? $140 on Glacius, higher than Zil A3 at 130, Falc at 120, and then down here Elddr at 47, Pyrus at 1.5, and then yeah. So damn, Glacius be popping off. The issue is then the faction. If Glacius was, let's say, Northener Piercer, that would be ridiculous. Northener Infernal would also go hard, but they do kind of clash concept wise. But yeah, this has been the review of Glacius, and yeah, peace. So before I forget about it, which I totally didn't forget and had to do this post edit because I already wanted to upload a video that was exactly this without the gear. Shh. Let's get into the gear part. We have this was the gear used on Glacius for him to do all his numbers in all sets in all three Guild Boss runs. So as you can see, 200% attack, 330 attack speed, 100% crit rate, 230% crit damage, and as you could have already guessed, a tier of Twilight. Zil A3 in 200% in around 220% attack, 300 attack speed, 100% crit damage, 200% crit damage, and a Wailing Skull at 25, as well as Falcia on 220% attack, 420 attack speed, 100% crit rate, 172% crit damage, 66% rage regen, and the Ram tier. I guess Pyrus, sure, why not? Pyrus obviously high attack speed, high rage regen, Nightmare Samsara, Hollow, high attack speed, high rage regen, the Golden Scarab, Mary, high attack speed. That's all. You just need high attack speed, and we're running her in a morale set with Tome of Horror, but the artifact is whatever. We tried Elddr in around 100. Probably not enough. We should have given him more attack, but around 180% attack, 200 attack speed, 100% crit rate, 230% crit damage, 65% rage regen, Ram tier. Laurel pretty simple, just HP with Invigoration. Invigoration on Volker. And no Invigoration on Dolores. So yeah,